Every time I clean my house, there's an elephant in the room. A box I dare not touch, but no, it shouldn't really have a place in my home. A sealed crate of memories which I've kept locked away for the better part of a decade. But I've decided to open Pandora's box. Whether it contains clues to solve the mystery of my childhood or bring back the pain of my youth is yet to be determined. But it's an endeavour I've put off until now. The box is simply labelled James and Martin. I gently opened the long-rested packaging tape, the delicately thin material being a weak security, yet it held sealed all this time from the fear of what's inside. I found the thing which will spearhead my investigation. My old childhood hard drive. It was slow to boot up. It's already apparent from the screech as it sprang. Its age was already apparent from the screech as it sprang to life. It whirred away until a folder showed up, listing its contents. It was as organised as one could imagine a 10-year-old was capable of. A series of nonsensical folders, and nothing named correctly. It wasn't easy to decipher files that were named a random string of numbers and letters. We rushed to save the files as quickly as possible so we could view them, not caring about the organising afterwards. Luckily, a lot of muscle memory was still in place, and I navigated the drive with relative ease, though I couldn't imagine how a stranger would fare. I flicked through a folder of pictures and videos. There were a lot of admittedly embarrassing files. Pictures of us recreating scenes we saw on TV. James, Martin and I were the Ninja Turtles one year for Halloween. We never had a fourth member, so we just carried a Leonardo figure with us. To us, that counted. There was a video next to the picture of us running around screaming quotes from the show. Seeing us happy brought a sting of pain. It's true what they say. You look back on the moments you cried and laugh. You look back on the moments you laughed and cry. But these cringeworthy moments of our youth isn't what brings painful memories. It's another folder of files that start things off. The videos of us chasing a monster. Before I hit the series of videos that we documented, there was a precursor picture of us all together. I remember propping the camera on a wall. We didn't have a tripod at the time. I was in the middle. To my left was James, looking adventurous and ready. To my right was Martin, looking content in our company. This was the ragtag group we called the Hunters. This picture was supposed to be the cover photo of our adventure. The one we'd be signing when we were famous. This was the last happy photo we ever had together. Growing up, we didn't have much. We lived in rural nowhere with nothing to do, so we made our own adventures. We would trail in the nearby woods, skirting the edge of town. We made several dens where we'd convene together and play. Our parents didn't mind. They drilled into us many safety lessons, and we were content knowing the safe reputation of our little hamlet. They also knew the reputation of how little there was to do in our town. I think they figured by trailing the woods, we were both keeping fit and staying out of trouble. You'll be surprised how many kids got into drugs simply out of boredom. What they didn't know was that we had a common goal. We were obsessed with TV shows about unsolved mysteries, UFO experiences, and cryptid sightings. We came to the mutual agreement to join the hunt, hence our group name, the Hunters. This just culminated in us sitting in the woods hoping to spot something while we played. We never got serious until my 10th birthday. James was the oldest in our group, having his birthday first in our group. This gave him an unspoken authority, though looking back, we were all the same age really. There was only a few months difference, but back then, those months made a huge difference. Turning 10, it meant I was finally the same age as everyone else. I was one of the latest in my class when it came to birthdays, always making me the kid of the group. It was a small gathering, but I remember having fun. We all played games, ran by our parents. I think we had it where each parent thought up a game, each with a prize. We then ate a meal, a potluck from each family. Afterwards, I opened my presents. Martin and James gave some of their toys that I liked, which I adored, knowing we all never had much to give. The rest of my presents were either hand-me-downs or from a charity shop. The one present that stood out was from a distant uncle, signed A. Carlson. When I opened it, the whole room lit up. I had never met this uncle before. He was from a side of the family we never spoke of. Whenever I'd bring it up, the subject would often get changed, or I'd be told I wasn't old enough to know about it. The present was a camera. Though it was second-hand, which was apparent by its condition, we were all thrilled, more so than my parents and theirs expected. I think to them, they thought it was probably going to get a few days' use before we gave up on it and moved on to playing with our regular toys, which was apparent by their skeptical looks at the gift. They probably saw how low quality and old it was. Probably one of the earliest models of digital cameras out there. But we unanimously all saw what the camera meant. We now had a tool to catch a picture of a cryptid. We all agreed to only film whatever was necessary. But being 10, we never stuck to this ideal. We ended up just filming everything. Big trees, jokes we just thought up, skits with our toys, stunts to show off, strange flowers. We'd sometimes just film us talking as we walked through the woods. When we got home, we'd charge the camera and transfer all the files. Then throughout the evening, we'd laugh at all the pictures and skip through the videos. Skipping through them now, it's a surreal feeling seeing them again, James and Martin. I never got to see them grow up, so to me, they'll always look like that in my head. Seeing them so young made me feel invigorated with youth, and for a fleeting moment, I was there, walking with them in the woods, laughing at the funny shape of the trees we found, or doing silly voices to each other. I eventually stopped skipping through the files and let them play out. Because I was often the cameraman, it gave the sensation that I was there with them, walking the all too familiar trails, sun blaring down between the pines and leaves. When I closed my eyes, listening to the rustle of our footsteps, the visceral crunch of the dry leaves and branches, I can almost smell the fresh nature surrounding me. Sensations I'll never forget. At first, our parents were right. After days of not catching a goblin, ghost, UFO or Bigfoot on camera, we started to lose a bit of interest. A reality slowly settled in that maybe this task wasn't going to be as easy as we thought. But we were filled with a childish innocence that we were special. And because we believed in our cause, we were going to succeed. Some Saturday morning cartoon logic. Deep down though, we started to form doubt. Still, we were having fun. There was an element of enjoyment when we filmed our experiences. It's easy to forget a funny comment in passing, but at times we could just pull up the footage and remember the joke, told fresh in the moment for a second time to savor. It was when we were looking for a funny comment James made, skipping through the video of us being goofy while walking around, when we accidentally paused the video as the camera was turning. It was only caught in a frame or two, but there it was, distorted by the terrible quality of the motion blur. Behind a bush, in the distance, was the clear silhouette of a figure. We ran it back, frame by frame, our eyes practically touching the monitor. We didn't believe it. In our minds, we did it. We had genuinely caught a cryptid on camera. This reignited our passions, and all our focus poured into our group's original passion. From then on, we set our goals to catching this figure. We never knew that the figure had the same goal about us.